Well, this wonderful channel I gave it a shout out today earlier, but she also inspired me so much by one of her videos, and I took one of her recipes and made it my own. It was basically what she did, but I added a little bit of a twist to it. The second one was my inspiration, Eat Like a Peasant, and I thought it should be Eat Like a Peasant. That's where I got the inspiration from. It was a really good video, and she gave some great tips on some budget meals. And usually my Sunday meals are not going to be in a budget. It's going to be whatever you want to spend, because I already do budget meal on Wednesday. But this one meal looks so good, I said, let me use it for Sunday dinner. And it was, make a meal for a peasant, but eat like a queen. I thought what I put together was wonderful. Now it's basically what she put in her video, and I added a little bit different. So if you want to see the difference, you need to watch both videos, hers and mine. And let's get busy now, and I'm going to share with you what I made today for Sunday dinner. Good evening to all my awesome friends. This series, instead of having a co-hostess like I do in most of my videos, I am going to get some kind of recipe that I'm inspired to make for my Sunday dinner. And I will probably do like I did on this video. I will show you the channel and the recipe that they made. Now I'm going to try to revamp the recipe for me. So it's going to be their recipe, the basic recipe, and I'm going to add or take away or redo something and make it different. This one I added some wonderful Italian sausage to it to give it even more flavor than what she did. But it's still the basic meal she made. And for this particular meal, when I made it for 4 people, because this originally was going to be for budget meal, but it was so good, I decided to make it for Sunday meal. I made it, and I spent like about $4. I turned around and decided to make it for a Sunday meal, so I made a bigger portion. I made about 8 servings, and when I took it up to the 8 servings, it still was about $6.50, and I don't think that's bad for 8 people for dinner. That meant that each meal, each plate, cost me less than $1, and for 4 it cost me $1. Now, I understand a few of the things I had, like the tomatoes, are from my garden, so they're free. I used at the end for the 8, I used a whole box of pasta that was on sale, so I got it for $1.50. So you might have to pay $2 normally, but I got it for $1.50. The spinach was just a little bit of a bunch of spinach, so there was a lot of spinach left over. We could even make another meal with. And I used 2 bunches of green onions when it was all said and done. Some of them I cooked in with the meat, and some of it I sprinkled on top. I did not cook the spinach at all. It's all fresh on top. Heavily seasoned after it was cooked to make sure you had a lot of flavor, a lot of taste, but I didn't spend a lot of money. Also, another big expense was the butter. So I thought we did great. So the butter was our sauce. We started with a pan of water. We got it to a full boil. We put the whole box of pasta in when I made it for my Sunday dinner. I cut up 4 cloves of garlic, and I browned the garlic and the meat and the green onions that I chopped up with a stick of butter. I put that all in there. It really gave it a lot of good flavor, and then I added Italian seasonings, lemon pepper, and garlic and herb and black pepper and sea salt. I used about a half a pound of Italian sausage, as you see here. I browned it up a little bit first, then I put in, also I cooked it in some butter, and I browned my onions and my garlic up with it, as you're going to see coming up. And Some of these green onions I saved to the side and sprinkled on top when I was done, just to give a little more flavor. But I did cook a lot. Now, what I'm showing you here, when I made it for 8, there was like double this. So I know it doesn't look like there's much because I decided to double it when I made it for my Sunday meal for my relatives. But for right now, I'm just showing you what I made for 4. I used fresh spinach. I cut it up very small so I could sprinkle it into my pasta salad. I did not cook that spinach. I put it in at the last minute when everything was done and prepared. And here is how my meat looked. And you can see I broke down that meat into small little chunks so that meat would go a long ways and be very flavorful in that sausage. I know Italian sausage is very, very flavorful, and you don't need a lot. And then if you want to kick it up a little bit for spice, I didn't do it on this dinner here, but when I had it for the family dinner, I added some red pepper flakes for me. Not for the family, because I'm the only one that likes hot, spicy food. But as you can see, there's a lot in here, and when you get it all stirred around, there was a lot more than it even looks in this pan, in this picture. I'm going to show it in a serving in just a second. But when I ate into it and saw how good it tasted, I said, you know, I'm going to make this for Sunday dinner. I don't think I can make it any better. Everything was fresh. I didn't, use any canned anything. And it really was so inexpensive. I could not believe it. And I've never made pasta with just butter for my sauce with flavor. But it really added a lot. Plus, I picked the tomatoes from the garden. And with 3 tomatoes, that meant we got almost a half a tomato apiece. And that's what it looked like on the plate. And that's not a whole tomato. And that plate is pretty full of food. And like I said, it was so good, and you could not believe how cheap it was. And if you want to have a nice Sunday dinner that's on a budget, cheap, this is a great thing to go, and it still looks and tastes wonderful. Now, I could have added more to it if I wanted to, but I'm trying to keep everything in a budget. Things are getting harder and harder, but I want you to give this one a try. It is really, really, really good. I was even amazed myself. And the spinach really added that extra color, flavor, and taste. And here you can see I added a little more seasonings on it. If you sprinkle it on after you cook it, I don't know, you just get more of the flavor in your mouth because it hasn't actually cooked into the food. It's just laying on top of the food. And that helps keep down, if you're worried about salt, instead of cooking with salt, just sprinkle some salt on top and you'll taste it better than if it's cooked into the food. So that's my tip for the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Simple, easy peasy meal. Anyone can make it. It doesn't take anything. You don't even have to measure anything. Just make it the way you want, season it the way you want, and here you got a wonderful meal for $1 or 75 cents a serving. I don't think you can beat that. And if you have to buy the tomato, maybe it costs you $1.25 a serving. You don't need a whole tomato to feed somebody. So, what do you think? Give me a comment. And what do you think about my new Sunday dinner? I'm going to try to put it up every Sunday and see what we can do. The only trouble is sometimes it gets up late because I got family over here. Well, everybody was happy with the meal. Nobody complained. And I couldn't believe how inexpensive a good meal can be with your family and a great conversation. And I'm sure they were all amazed at how Grandma's putting so many great meals together for not that much money. Don't forget Budget Meal on Wednesday. I have 2 budget meals to share with you, and they're both under $5, and you're going to be amazed at what I made for them too.